Just like to remind you, if you would like to ask a question, you can type it into the chat, or you can just say me or unmute, and we'll invite you to unmute and you can ask a question directly. Vic, while we're waiting for the next question to come through, it might be a good opportunity for people to understand how they can take the next step in terms of consuming some of your content. Could you share some ways that people can do that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm on LinkedIn. I'm happy to connect with anybody who'd like to send me a LinkedIn invitation. On LinkedIn, there's a ton of content. I've written several articles, and I'm always posting, interesting thought leadership pieces. And I'm working with some companies in some really key areas. Workplace wellness is a huge topic right now. I've got a new client that I'm working with that's developed a workplace wellness app along with the Mayo Clinic, and we're strategizing on bringing that through the facilities management channel. So you can connect with me on LinkedIn. You can go to my Virum Consulting YouTube channel. There's a number of videos out there, former presentations I've given, and some other material out there. And then on my website, virumconsulting.com, I've actually written 2 books on corporate real estate. They're basically compendiums of articles that I've written. It's called Quaere Verum, which means seek the truth. Verum is the Latin word for truth, and it's also the name of my company. But both books are available for free download on my website. You can just go and right-click on download the book and save it to your drive and take it with you. So I don't sell them; I just give them away.
Wonderful, wonderful. Chris says, great content, Vic. What third-party software tools are available to help with managing a real estate portfolio for benchmarking or finding unbiased comps?
Don't know about the unbiased comps part, but for benchmarking and for doing some scenario planning around how to consolidate and compress space, I work with a company called Refinery, Refinere. And they have developed a platform so that you can take benchmark data. They actually own a company called BenchCore now, benchmarking data, and they can actually help you do some scenario planning with that. So you might check them out. And but as far as unbiased comps, I really don't know. I think that a lot of the data that's available is going to have some skew to it. So I don't know if I can help you with that question, Chris.
I would recommend asking a few brokers and seeing what they come up with, and then making the assessment on yourself, which are the right ones, and then perhaps you'll get a more representative view of what's going on in the market. Alan says, thank you. I think your experience is invaluable and a great resource for folks who work with you and through you. So I guess that's a comment, not a question, but a good one. So
yeah.
Thank you,
Oh,
Alan.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, no, I really enjoy what I do, and helping corporate clients with their outsourcing needs is really takes up a little bit more than half of my time. I only work with a couple clients a year because of that. And what we do is we actually reverse engineer the RFP process so that we actually make the scope of work more applicable to the client's needs. And so it's just a unique way of approaching the business, and it sort of puts the relationship first, which I think that's my main philosophy, is that as long as you develop really, really good relationships, you can't go wrong. So thanks for that comment.
Next up is Richard. What trends do you see in commercial model preferences? And then he clarifies and says FM, facilities management, commercial models.
Yeah, so management fee with a pass-through, and then with a typical glide path savings, shared savings component to that.
Okay, we've got a question here from Lewis. Hi, Vic. Thanks for sharing your expertise. Step one of your 5 touches was to connect with CRE individual by asking their thoughts on the event. Talk about anything other than your business. If you're hoping to target a certain CRE individual, how would you reach out to this individual without standing out to be business oriented?
Wow, that's a good good question. I mean, part of my, I guess it's been a sort of charmed life in that I've been at a lot of these conferences and have been able to have the benefit of being introduced to different people just as I wander around the event. Let's say I'm at a cocktail party and I'm talking to a colleague of mine, and the colleague of mine introduces me to somebody else. That's typically how those conversations go. I think the thrust of this question is, what if you're seeking a particular individual to talk to? How do you do that without starting out as business oriented? And it might be, to see if you can find out a little bit about, that individual's company. And a lot of times when I look for a particular person to talk to, let's say I'm talking to somebody who might be in an artificial intelligence company. I'm really interested in artificial intelligence, and so I may want to talk to that person about what their company does, and say, I've been looking to talk to you, and the reason is because I really want to find out more about this technology that your company has come up with. And so that conversation is not about real estate. That conversation is about the company's core business. So sometimes I use that, or you can use that as the way to sort of start the conversation. So you're not coming in and saying, hey, I hear you guys are expanding and want to talk to you about, thinking about, putting a facility in the market I work in.
I have a comment to add to that. One approach that I've seen for outbound email prospecting or follow-up is to try and find out something that's very specific to that person. So it doesn't just look like it's a boilerplate email that you're sending out to all the business cards that you got in the example from Vic at a conference. So you could find something about the company they worked for in the past, or maybe it's a personal interest that they have, and you could actually point to that. And you really want to try and put that in the first line of the email, because the first line of the email is really important, because that's in the email preview what people see. So showing that it's not just a cookie cutter, that it is something personalized, not in a creepy way like you've gone and digged into their 2 years into their Instagram history, but something that you could find out reasonably easily from their LinkedIn profile, and shown that you've done some research and that you've personalized it. I think that's a good way to sort of stand out when you're trying to strike up a conversation at the first point.
Yeah. And I like to play interviewer too. Whenever I'm at these events, one of the things I like to ask people as a first question is, say, so what's, I know you're here at this conference, so what are the biggest challenges you're facing? And just remember that, take notes on that, because people have challenges that are outside of real estate, and they have bigger issues that their company, their industry sector may be dealing with. It's important just to glean that and to try to get that. And if you go to one pharmaceutical head of real estate and you talk about what's important to them, and then you go to another one and say, hey, Joe over here said this was really important to him. What's important to you? Is it the same? And now you're going to see if there's differences in the way people, think. And so there's a little method to it, to kind of go and collect this data, doing research in an informal but formal way. And then, making sure you take notes on that to be able to go back a week later and remember the conversation, because, those conferences, you can end up drinking a lot of cocktails and forgetting a lot of things. So you want to make sure you take some good notes.